Hello, you're watching tulipswift. Today I'm going to go through all the books I read in October and November. These are my favorite kind of videos to make. So I'm going to go through each book, tell you kind of what it's about, my experience reading it, and if I would recommend it. Starting with Born to Endless Night, Tales from Shadowhunter Academy number 9. This series takes place after City of Heavenly Fire in the Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare at the Shadowhunter Academy in Idris, training mundanes and young Shadowhunters to ascension. Something great happened to my OTP, and it was just like a lot of stuff in this book that I really love. When this book comes out in physical copy, I think it is 100% important that you read it. Things happen in this book that you can't miss if you're a fan of the Mortal Instruments. It's way more necessary than like the Bane Chronicles, which is like extra books, but this has like important things in the plot that you really should know. So you have to read this. Number 9 was really good. Next I read Miss Marvel No Normal. This is a collection of Miss Marvel number 1 through 5. This book is about a girl named Kamala in New Jersey. She is such a huge fan of Marvel Comics and she wants to be her own hero. Crazy events happen to her. She battles with the image she has of herself and how she fits in. If you love strong female characters and you love superheroes and you want to try to read comic books, I have to recommend Miss Marvel. I kept loaning this out to my friends. I was turning into a library. I gave this to 3 friends and they all read it overnight. Next I read the first issue of SpiderGwen. I was super excited to read this. I love Spider-Man. This is only the first issue, but I don't think I'm continuing on. I have so many comics I want to read. I really felt like I was walking in on the middle of a plot that I didn't understand. The last book I read in October was Twilight Reimagined Life and Death by Stephanie Meyer. This book is the same story, but in an alternate universe where everybody's the opposite gender. Almost the same events happen. This only worked because it was the 10th anniversary and we were expecting something to come out. Stephanie Meyer did a really amazing job of explaining why she was writing this, what this means. I have like an 11-minute book review. If you're really curious to see like everything I thought, like you can go check that out. I started off November with the first book in the Pretty Little Liars series by Sarah Shepard. This book is so good. This is the first one. It's super short. It's such a quick read. If you're a huge fan of the TV show, let me tell you, this book is the entire first episode, but still a lot happens in this. I'm on book 5 now and I still have to say the first book was the best. Pretty Little Liars is about a group of 5 girls in 7th grade who are best friends. Their leader is this girl named Allie who's kind of manipulative. So Allie goes missing and then about 3 years later they find her body. The 4 girls remaining, Aria, Spencer, Hannah, and Emily, they are receiving threats from someone named A. And A knows all of their secrets and still no one knows who killed Allie. This book was so good. This book was so good. This book was so good. I immediately went on to read Flawless, the second book in the Pretty Little Liars series. This cover is so interesting because it's the Barbie doll, very pronounced shade of orange. On the back it has just like models who were just like posed for the book cover. They're on all the books. They obviously are kind of outdated. Their outfits, like she's wearing like light wash flare jeans and they look very different from the show. Spencer is blonde and then this is Aria, this is Hannah, and Emily is ginger. This book definitely not as good as the first book. Not a lot of things happen. I'm on book 5 and I think this series definitely could have been condensed because there are 15 books. She could have reduced it. I think it could have been maybe a 7-book series. The next book I read is called Silence by Natasha Preston. I got this book for free on iBooks and I did some research. This author is pretty young. She's in her 20s. She originally wrote this book on Wattpad, which explains a lot. It's not the best. It's about a girl named Oakley who's British. She stopped speaking when she was about 6 years old. Now she's a teenager. Her family still doesn't know why she doesn't speak. They kind of assumed it was something medical. It's kind of a mystery, which this part I really liked. It was a huge mystery why she decided to stop speaking. She falls in love. It was marked as romance. It definitely wasn't a romance. I think it was a drama. It was kind of a mystery. The book really needed a big ending to balance it off, and it did a really good job at that. This book definitely had poor writing. It sounded like a really good movie that like a middle schooler tried to write down. This book is part of a trilogy and I really want to finish it, but because it's not very well known, it's not like at the library or at the bookstore, but I'm really curious what happens. If it interests you, I say go for it. It was free on iBooks. The next book I read in November is called Angels Twice Descending. It's the 10th book in Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. I was just so excited to read this book. It was really great. It's the last chapter and what has been going on for the past 10 months. I love everyone in this crazy series. I know there was guest authors throughout this book, and some of them did really well. There were a few shaky chapters. I'm so glad I've had this to look forward to every month. I can't wait for everyone to read it when it comes out in the physical copy. The next book I read is called The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight. I've had my eye on this book for so long. I think right when it came out, it was in the front of the young adult section at Barnes & Noble. It was really good. I'd never read anything by this author before. Definitely kind of slow paced. It's about a girl who's on her way to her father's wedding. Her father's getting remarried, and she doesn't really support this decision. She hasn't talked to her father in a while, and he's marrying a British woman, and he's kind of adapting that culture, and she kind of feels like she doesn't know him anymore. She misses her flight, and now she's sitting on a different plane ride, and she thinks this is the worst luck in the world, but she ends up sitting next to this individual who reminds me so much of Jude from Across the Universe. They are really helping each other go through a lot. There was a great ending. I feel like this author writes her books to look like kind of a chick flick romance movie. I think you can definitely picture this, you know, like one of those like Anne Hathaway movies or whatnot. This book was really good. If you're looking for something cute and romantic, I say go for it. Next, I read the third book in the Pretty Little Liars series named Unbelievable. I'm a huge fan of Caleb from the TV show, and at this point I was really expecting him to come into the story. He still isn't there yet, so I was kind of upset. The dynamic between the four girls is very, very different in the books, especially early on when they're not quite friends yet. I kind of missed out on that. I really wanted to see like the friendship. And the last book I read in November is called The Moon and More by Sarah Dessen. The big picture of this book didn't flow. This book is so focused on her love life, and then the ending didn't give a conclusion to that story. The main character is a great protagonist. I really look up to her. I think she's great. I think if this book had a good ending, I would have ranked it way higher. I did a book talk on this, which hopefully you will see soon. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon. I love you. Bye.